Just this once. Don't pull these little stunts again. I really don't like it. After the stunning, icy woman before me sternly warned me. She strode away on her long legs, taking the lunchbox from my hand. Our boss hates dating and marriage, so only single people are allowed at this company. And me. She seemed to have labeled me as someone trying to please her. She kept picking on me. Seriously, is something wrong with her? I looked at the refined secretary following the boss, my face full of resentment. She only gave me a helpless smile, then glanced at the boss, winked at me, and hurried after her. This wasn't the first time. I let out a long, helpless sigh. The elegant beauty in my arms held me tightly and comforted me. Hang in there. Once this project is done, we'll move to another company. Then we can be together openly. How much longer do we have to wait? I don't know when it will end. Take last time, for example. I bought 2 milk teas. One was supposed to secretly go to Ningbing, but on my way to find Ningbing, I ran into Xinci. Xinci's face turned cold. She looked at the milk tea in my hand and gave a dismissive snort. Again. Didn't I tell you? Put more thought into your work. Stop spending all day trying to flatter your boss. I'll let this slide, but don't do it again. With that, she directly took one of the cups. After shooting me a glare, she clicked away in her heels. I stared at her retreating back, completely baffled. Wait, what was that about? Did I say it was for her? No, I didn't. With a sigh, I recalled the root of all this trouble. It began with a chance accident. Once, after a project ended, everyone went out for a celebratory dinner. There were so many of us that we split across several tables. I sat with several male co-workers I was close to. The manager said Xinci had something to handle and might not come, so we were told to start without her. Without that stern iceberg of a boss. The mood quickly warmed up. I quietly ate and drank my beverage, but the co-workers around me grew bolder. They gradually began drinking and chatting. They say alcohol gives cowards courage. As they drank, things they usually dared not say came pouring out all at once. Come on. This company only hires single people, and its no dating rule is completely insane. Love, hate, and romance are only natural. What was the boss thinking when she made that rule? True, but it isn't all bad. The pay is great. That is why I came here in the first place. Exactly. I can't find a girlfriend anyway, so I might as well take a high-paying job. Not necessarily. There are plenty of beautiful women here. Maybe you can date someone within the company. What are you saying? What if you get caught? Besides, if you date a coworker and then break up, you'll still see each other every day. How awkward would that be? My hand trembled when I heard that. I was dating a coworker, wasn't I? As I thought that, they got drunker and drunker, and their topics became increasingly bold. Come on, the boss is still the prettiest woman in this company. Just look at those long legs and that slim waist. Her face is absolutely gorgeous too. True. But her temper is awful. She wears that cold expression all day. You'd think someone owed her money. Exactly. I prefer Secretary Bai. She may not be as beautiful as the boss, but she's so thoughtful and good with people. Let me tell you, last time I saw, before he could finish, another drunk co-worker cut him off. I think Lee from finance is cute too. Her face is so round. She looks adorable. They kept talking excitedly, while I silently drank my beverage. Maybe because I had been quiet for so long. They turned the conversation to me. Fang, what about you? I looked at him in confusion. The male co-worker, red-faced and grinning, called out, your impression of the boss, obviously. I took a sip of water. I did not want to badmouth the boss too much. What if someone with an ulterior motive overheard us? That would be a disaster. So I said with a smile, the boss is beautiful and capable. She can be strict at times, but everything she says makes sense. She's very responsible. I really like her. I laid the praise on thick, but in a painfully cliché twist. The moment I finished, a slightly chilly voice sounded behind me. Oh. So that's how you really feel about me. My whole body instantly froze. That voice sounded awfully familiar. The people across from me confirmed it the next second. Boss, I swallowed hard. Why was my luck so terrible? I immediately stood up to explain. Boss, listen to me. I was just. But Xinci waved a hand. I know what you want to say. I sighed in relief. At least she understood. But her next words nearly made me stumble. There can never be anything between us. Her stern gaze swept over me. Then, despite my desperate attempts to explain, she walked toward the table where the company executive sat. What the hell was that? I collapsed into my chair, bathed in my co-workers' sympathetic stares. From that day onward, Xinci began paying special attention to me. One time, I ran into Xinci while getting water in the break room. She looked at the coffee in my hand, the same flavor as hers, and the same patterned cup. Then said, I didn't expect you to learn even my taste in coffee. Focus more on work. This is inappropriate. With that, she carried her coffee back to her office. I looked at the coffee in my hand. I drained the culprit in one gulp. Wasn't this just a random cup of coffee? I would never drink coffee again. Sometimes I even ran into her at the convenience store. Xinci saw what I was buying and her cheeks flushed. I didn't expect you to find out when my period is. Oh, forget it. Don't do this again. This isn't something you should do. Then she pulled out several 100 yuan bills and put them in my hand. Then she took the bag from me. It contained brown sugar drink and feminine hygiene products. My Ningbing had asked me to buy them. I never expected to run into Shang's Xinci so conveniently. What was this mess? I sighed, then bought everything again. But this time, the young cashier looked at me strangely. Her eyes seemed to say, "You cheating jerk. You have more than one girlfriend." I was innocent. Another time, during a meeting, I accidentally looked her way a few too many times. I was really looking at by Ningbing, but the next moment, a message came through on my phone. "I don't like being looked at that way. Appreciating beauty is fine, but your blatant stare makes me uncomfortable." Reading that, I truly had no idea how to explain. Explain that I was staring at her secretary. I silently sighed, then typed a reply to her. "My mistake, boss. It won't happen again." I looked over. Shang Xinci still appeared to be listening intently to the report, but my phone vibrated. I checked it. Shang Xinci had sent a message. "Good. You are capable too. If you put your energy into your work, you will definitely achieve great things." Was that a compliment? I didn't know. If I had to name the most troublesome incident, it was the day by Ningbing, and I argued. I had already lined up another company, so I brought up resigning. After all, that project was over. Naturally, we should follow our original agreement and resign for another company. Otherwise, we can't keep sneaking around forever. But by Ningbing seemed hesitant. "I think we should think it over some more. Our pay here is so good. After all, we would have to adjust at a new company, and the pay might not be as high. It's fine. At the company we're joining, the salary is even better than here. Several of our college classmates work there too, so settling in will be easy." I didn't see that as a problem. After all, I had already arranged everything. All that remained was signing the contracts. But by Ningbing was still hesitant. I tried to persuade her, but somehow, I set off by Ningbing's temper. "All you ever do is think about yourself. Have you ever considered how I feel?" I was stunned. Weren't we discussing it? Besides, she said she had too much work and was busy, so I had found a position for her too. How was it suddenly my fault? I sighed, wanting to ease the tension, but by Ningbing grabbed her bag and walked straight out. "There's work at the company. I'll be working late tonight. Let's not contact each other for now. We both need to calm down." With that, she left. I watched her retreating back and sighed helplessly. She still hadn't returned by nightfall. She didn't reply to my messages either. I got up, intending to go to the company and talk things through with her. If we didn't solve the problem, then cooling off wouldn't accomplish anything. I got in the car and soon arrived at the company. Some departments still had their lights on. I silently thought these people worked far too hard. It was Saturday, and they were still working overtime. Upstairs, carrying her favorite cake, I headed straight for the office. But by Ningbing wasn't at her desk. Where had she gone? To see a friend. I tried contacting her again, but still got no response. I was about to leave when I heard a dull thud. It sounded like something hitting the floor. I looked toward the sound. It came from Shang Xinci's office. As I passed by, I saw inside through the open blinds. Shang Xinci had collapsed on the floor. I immediately rushed in. Her forehead was drenched in sweat, and she clutched her stomach, brow furrowed. "Boss," I shouted. But Shang Xinci was too weak to answer. After hesitating, I scooped her up and hurried outside. Shang Xinci's brow remained tightly furrowed in my arms. She looked seriously ill. We finally made it to the hospital. The doctor diagnosed her with acute gastritis. It was caused by irregular meals and sleep. Shang Xinci's case was rather severe. The doctor prescribed medicine and had her rest in a hospital bed. Looking at this woman who was usually so commanding, now suffering so badly, I couldn't help sighing. If you don't take care of your body, you won't be alive to spend all that money. As I thought that, the medicine began to take effect. Shang Xinci's complexion improved considerably, but she had been through a lot, so her face was still somewhat pale. She looked so fragile, so I stayed by her side. What if something happened? It wasn't like I had anything else to do. I might as well make Shang Xinci owe me a favor. Maybe she'd give me a raise or a bonus. Before I knew it, morning had come. I fell asleep slumped over the bedside. When I woke up, Shang Xinci was staring sharply at me, lying in her hospital bed. "Morning, boss." I greeted her, then prepared to wash up and buy breakfast. "I didn't expect you to go this far." What was she talking about? Then Shang Xinci let out a long sigh. Fine. I won't hold it against you today. After all, you like me far too much. Let's have breakfast together. I just ordered food. It will be here soon." Sure enough, it was delivered shortly afterward. The instant I opened it, the aroma filled the air. I was won over instantly. I forgot all about that woman's nonsense. I happily dug in. After that, I left. Since Shang Xinci was awake, she no longer needed my care. She was discharged that afternoon. Later, I got in touch with Ningbing. We exchanged only a few words. I just let her know I was safe. At work, She also seemed to avoid me. After several days like that, we apologized to each other, and the ice between us began to thaw. We didn't bring up that matter again. We only considered whether there was another solution. But we truly weren't as close as before. A dark cloud hung over my heart, because that day, Xinci said she hadn't seen Bai Ningbing all day. I didn't know what to say. When I asked Bai Ningbing, she brushed it off. Until one day, everyone had gone home on a rainy evening. But Bai Ningbing said she was staying with Shang Xinci to handle some documents. She told me to go home first, but I wasn't in a hurry. There were things I needed to ask her, so after messaging that I would wait for her, I sat near the lobby. But Shang Xinci came out first. She saw me sitting there alone without an umbrella. I didn't expect you to wait until this late. She sighed deeply, then tossed me her car keys. Fine. The rain is so heavy today, and it hasn't been easy for you. I'll give you a chance to spend time with me today. Well, boss, that's not. Holding the keys, my mind was a mess. Before I could finish explaining, Shang Xinci gestured for me to be quiet. She picked up her phone and exchanged a few words with someone. Then she looked at me. We need to go to the warehouse now. It seems someone is causing trouble. Without waiting for my response, she headed straight for the parking garage. I hurried after her. Just as I was about to say I had something to do, Shang Xinci gave me a stern look. It's urgent. Please hurry. Right away. I was born to work myself to the bone. I quickly messaged Bai Ningbing. Damn, the boss caught me again. Now I have to drive the boss to the company warehouse. Bai Ningbing never replied. She hadn't even answered my earlier message about waiting to go home with her. What was she doing? Was she really that busy? Shang Xinci urged me again, so I immediately caught up. Once I got into the car, I touched the steering wheel, feeling excited. I'd never driven such an expensive car before. I couldn't help looking it over. Shang Xinqi's icy voice came from the passenger seat. You can look at it later. Can you drive now? Sorry. We're leaving now. I started the car and soon headed for the company's warehouse outside town. On the way, while watching the road, my eyes kept drifting toward Shang Xinci. Shouldn't the boss sit in the back? Her brows were whereupon tightly. Her fingers flew over her phone. Whatever she was handling looked serious. I quietly let out a breath, my heart filled with unease. Why did I feel so anxious? More than 20 minutes later, we reached the warehouse. The rain had stopped too. Shang Xinci checked her phone, then looked at the unnaturally quiet warehouse. Wasn't someone supposed to be causing trouble? As she walked, she called the person in charge. The phone rang for a long time, but no one answered. I sensed something was wrong too. Everything outside the warehouse looked normal. There wasn't even a troublemaker in sight. Shang Xinqi's frown deepened, but she didn't slow down. Before we reached the warehouse entrance, a group of masked people suddenly rushed out. They were carrying crowbars. I turned to Shang Xinci. Boss, I told you that temper of yours needs fixing. Now people have come after you. Shang Xinci ignored me. She only stared at them. Whatever you want. We can discuss it. We can pay you too. The leader laughed. We want your life. The moment he finished speaking, more than a dozen men charged at us. Shang Xinci stepped forward and shouted without looking back. Fang Yuan, run first. I've trained in Sanda for years. I can hold them off for a while. Go get help. She had barely finished her bold declaration when I grabbed her arm and pulled her back. Come on, lady. Do you think you're Yuan? Taking on more than a dozen men with crowbars by yourself? Are you insane? We have a car, and you'd be an idiot not to use it. Just as we neared the car, a masked man was already waiting there. His mask hid his face, but I could clearly sense that he was smiling. He glanced at us while holding a button, then pressed it. With a bang, flames erupted beside the car. The blast of heat stopped us in our tracks. Holy hell, they're going this far? Fire blocked the way ahead. The men were closing in behind us. Shang Xinci scanned the area. Her voice sank. They're here for me. I got you involved. I'll hold them off. You go first. I looked at the people already surrounding us and was completely speechless. It's not that I don't want to leave. They were never planning to let me go. I grabbed a thick stick from the roadside and stood beside her. Shang Xinci glanced at me. The corner of her mouth actually lifted. I never thought you'd do this for me. Even risk your life. I held myself back again and again, so I wouldn't whack her with the stick first. How exactly did she get the idea that I was risking my life for her? These people had surrounded me too. Even if I wanted to leave, I couldn't. The people around us gave us no chance to keep talking. Shang Xinci kicked a crowbar flying. Then she dropped a man in just a few moves. It took less than 3 seconds. I was stunned. Good grief. She's that good. I looked at the stick in my hand. I couldn't let her show me up. I trained with the staff under my grandfather since childhood. I could still take down a few of them. We worked together, knocking them down one after another. But there were too many of them. There were only 2 of us. Sooner or later, they'd wear us down. Just as Shang Xinci dropped a man with 1 punch, I spotted an opening. I grabbed the person beside me and charged through the gap. Boss, staying alive comes first. Behind me, Shang Xinci shouted. Fang Yuan. After running a few steps, I suddenly realized something was wrong. Since when were the boss's hands so rough? I looked back. The masked guy I was dragging was staring blankly at me too. What are you doing? He asked with complete sincerity. What I wanted to know even more was where my boss had gone. Buddy, sorry about this. I grinned at him, trying to look as harmless as possible. Then I raised my hand and knocked him out. Xinci charged over from behind. You idiot. You can't even grab the right person. Your eyesight really is terrible. She seized my hand and pulled me into a run. The others chased after us relentlessly. We darted into the woods and ran all the way beneath a steep slope. Only then did we barely shake them. Xinci and I squeezed into a hollow at the bottom of the slope. The masked men stood above, searching everywhere. After a long while, the sounds above finally faded away. I always mocked television characters for being blind, but at that moment, I only hoped they really couldn't see us. Please don't find us. Xinci and I exchanged a look and decided to wait another 10 minutes. But just as we thought that, sure enough, about 5 minutes later, footsteps sounded above us again. We heard a deep male voice. What now? They got away. Another man cursed. Tell the client. Who knew those two could fight so well? The sounds above grew fainter. This time, they should be gone for good. These bastards are sneaky. They even knew to double back after leaving. Don't television villains leave when they can't find someone? Don't they have any professional standards at all? When I turned around, I saw that Xinci didn't look well. Boss, what's wrong? I twisted my ankle when we slid down earlier. I'm fine. We'll wait another 5 minutes, then leave. Her forehead was covered in sweat. She had several fresh scrapes too. Her face was slightly flushed. Her brow remained tightly furrowed. Yet she refused to make a single sound of pain. She was hurting that badly, but still wouldn't admit it. She'd looked so effortless while fighting earlier. Only now did I realize she'd been forcing herself to hold on. Boss, shut up. I won't fall for you. Just because you come for me. I hadn't even said anything, but she'd filled in the rest herself. I couldn't be bothered to explain. I sat on the ground with my arms around my knees. Those 5 minutes crawled by. The wound on my wrist began hurting again. I looked down. It had been cut open while we broke through. Blood was still seeping out. This trip was a total loss. I'd lost so much blood. How many meals would I need to make up for it? Who would have thought that accompanying my boss would leave me in this state? If she doesn't give me a raise after this, I'll pester her every day. Xinci suddenly poked me. Her eyes kept flicking toward my sleeve. You're hurt? I casually pulled my hand into my sleeve, then let it show again. I'd actually been about to tell her I was fine. What an idiot I was. I quickly put on a face of enduring the pain and deliberately hid my hand in my sleeve again. Boss, I'm fine. It's only a minor injury. She yanked my hand over and examined it closely. You're hurt like this, and you call it minor? She kept lowering her eyes to the wound. Her grip on my hand stayed tight. I tried to pull away, but couldn't. Boss, a little blood is nothing. At least we're alive. Look, the blood is already clotting. I'll be fine. I let go of her hand and stood to check outside. Xinci grabbed me again. We can't just let this go. This happened because of me. Xinci was unusually insistent about it. My heart leaped. A bonus might be in the cards. You can make one request. I'll consider granting it. Really? There's no need. This wasn't your fault. I was about to protest a little more and use the chance to ask for a raise. Fine, I'll be your girlfriend. I froze instantly. No. Lady, how did you read that into what I said? Boss, Xinci covered her ears, looking like she didn't want to hear it. I know you're happy, but my mind is a mess right now. I don't want to hear your confession. I closed my mouth. If I kept talking, who knew what else she'd imagine? We crouched there in silence, like two lost children. 5 minutes passed. I poked my head out first and made sure no one was nearby. Only then did I call Xinci over. The moment she stood, her body swayed. Her ankle was badly swollen, yet she forced herself onward. After only 2 steps, a small rock tripped her again. If I kept watching, I was afraid I'd end up a murderer. I couldn't take it anymore. Boss, Xinci looked up, frowning. She was about to speak. Shut up. It was rare for me to snap at her, and she actually fell silent. Her eyes still glistened with tears. She stared at me without a word, as though she'd suffered some terrible injustice. I wasn't about to waste this chance. Usually, she was the one picking on me. Today was finally my turn. I walked over and crouched in front of her, then pointed at my back. She stood there without moving. If you won't get on, I'm leaving. Even being my boss won't help. At last, she climbed onto my back. I supported her and stood up. Without thinking, I complained. You're heavy. I was immediately smacked on the head. This woman doesn't know how to repay kindness at all. There was no signal in the woods, and the way back was long. My arms ached from carrying her. I could only hitch her higher. That earned me several more hits. I really wanted to leave her here. If she still doesn't give me a bonus after this, then all this hardship will have been for nothing. As I found our way, I was glad I hadn't followed Xinqi's directions, going the way she'd pointed earlier. We'd have been deep in the mountains by now. Fang Yuan, what is it? Are you tired? Isn't that obvious? But I wasn't carrying my boss. I was carrying a bonus and a raise. Not at all. You're so light, boss. How could I be tired? Fang Yuan, would you like to hear my story? Oh, a story. I love stories. Go ahead, I'll listen. I felt Xinci relax against my back. She wasn't so tense anymore. Do you know why I ban office romances and only hire single people? That rule really was ridiculous. People are bound to date and marry eventually. If it keeps going like this, all the good employees will leave. I waited for her tale of heartbreak because I hate watching couples flaunt their love. The more she spoke, the more aggrieved she sounded. I wasn't like this before. I was a very cheerful girl. Can you see how I've changed now? Oh, now you're a cheerful woman. I got smacked on the head again. Before, I only focused on studying. I didn't even know how to dress up. By the time I came to my senses, everyone around me was dating or getting married, and every day, I was the only one stuck watching them show off their love. I want to date too. That surprised me. With everything she had going for her, she still couldn't find someone, as if she knew what I was thinking. Xinci continued explaining from my back. I don't know how to date. I used to reject all of it too strongly. Now, whenever romance comes up, my lips start trembling uncontrollably. I knew that all too well. She sighed. I really want to be in a relationship too. My body tensed. I was terrified she'd make this about me again. But Xinci suddenly shouted at the sky. All you lovey-dovey couples, get lost. Just leave me out of it. So I said yes. Fang Yuan, you can be my boyfriend. Can I say no? Feeling her arms around my neck and remembering all her pent-up resentment, I was truly afraid that once she learned the truth, she'd strangle me. I didn't dare say a word. First, we had to get out safely. As we walked, I probed indirectly with a hint of complaint. Boss, has work been busy lately? I see you and secretary by working late all the time. Xinci's voice instantly brightened. Are you worried about me? Things have been busy lately, but I don't exploit my employees as much as you think. Secretary by is long since gone home. She smiled, but I said nothing. Really? How dare you question your boss? She knocked me on the head again. This time, I had no desire to argue back. Only one thought remained in my mind. Ningbing wasn't working late. Then, where had she been going? The day I went to the office looking for her, Xinci said she hadn't seen her all day either. All those supposed late nights lately, and the messages she'd ignored during our Cold War, suddenly weighed heavily on my chest. Once we reached a place with reception, we called a car and returned near the company. After all that trouble, we finally sat comfortably in the car. That place wasn't far from where I lived, and it was convenient for Xinci too. Goodbye, boss. The instant I got out, I wanted to leave. Xinci seemed to want to say something, but said nothing. Just as I was about to go, I suddenly spotted a familiar figure. Ningbing had her arm linked with a man's. They walked toward us, laughing and chatting. Maybe he was a relative, but the man lowered his head and kissed her. Ningbing didn't pull away. She even smiled and playfully punched his chest. The man took the chance to pull her into his arms. Anyone would see them as a loving couple. So what was I? The side piece. At last, the hope I'd been clinging to died. Ningbing saw me too. Panic flashed across her face. But she didn't leave the man. Apparently, he mattered more to her than I did. I stared straight at them, without backing down. As they were about to walk past me, I couldn't hold back any longer. I grabbed the man by the collar and shoved him to the ground. The man lay on the ground, crying out in pain. Fang Yuan, what are you doing? Do you know who you've offended? If she decides to press the matter, you couldn't afford the consequences. I'd forgotten about you two. You never used to treat me like this. Well, now you've seen it. There's a first time for everything. It's my first time being cheated on too. I couldn't control my emotions. Please bear with me. Do you know why I did this? With just our salaries, if we wanted a home and a car in a big city, how long would we have to wait? So you found a rich man and skipped straight to the finish line. I looked at the man on the ground and couldn't help clicking my tongue. He was in his 50s. Fat and greasy-faced. She really could stomach him. When I first met Ningbing, she clearly wasn't like this. Maybe she changed, or maybe I'd never truly known her. During the days she gave me the silent treatment, and the nights she claimed she was working late, who knew where she had really gone? I'd even brought a cake to the office for her. Yet Ningbing looked at me with nothing but resentment, as though I was the one standing in the way of her good life. I really was a complete fool. The man climbed to his feet. His face was full of rage. Pointing at Ningbing and me, he said, "You two are finished." Ningbing's face changed. She immediately clung to his arm. "This has nothing to do with me. It's all Fang Yuan's fault. I love you." As she spoke, she even tried to kiss Boss Wang's face, which I'd punched swollen. Disgusting. Boss Wang was clearly sick of her. He'd only ever seen her as a toy. He roughly shoved her away. Ningbing fell to the ground. Her wrist and ankles scraped against the pavement, leaving several abrasions. Boss Wang shouted at me again. "You little punk. How dare you provoke me? Do you know who I am?" I immediately hugged Xinci, who had just gotten out of the car. "My wife. Save me." Of course, I had no idea who he was, but he was definitely someone I couldn't afford to offend. I looked at Shang Xinci. I just saved your life, so you've got to help me out too. I didn't know if she caught my meaning. Shang Xinci gently patted my back, then frowned at Boss Wang across from us. Boss Wang, long time no see. Her words were filled with murderous intent. All of Boss Wang's pent-up fury vanished in an instant. He bowed and scraped before us. With his head lowered, he apologized repeatedly. I failed to recognize someone important. It's all my fault. As Boss Wang apologized, he slapped his own face. All while watching Shang Xinci's reaction, he suddenly turned to Bai Ningbing and kicked her. Bai Ningbing cried out in pain. More and more people gathered around. Enough. Stop making a scene. Keep this up, and you'll end up in jail. Yes, of course. He even gave a fawning smile. Leave. Boss Wang looked as though he'd been pardoned. He turned and left immediately. I kept watching his retreating back. Shang Xinci smiled. She saw what I was thinking. Don't worry. He and his company won't have it so easy from now on. I glanced at Shang Xinci. I knew what she meant. With her power, bringing down Boss Wang's company wouldn't be difficult. I nodded. Shang Xinci looked at Bai Ningbing again. Her gaze turned icy at once. No wonder. At the last gala, I saw you chatting so happily with Boss Wang. So that's what it was. Boss, you've misunderstood. Boss Wang and I only came out to discuss a business deal. I had to admire her shamelessness. How had I never noticed it before? Discuss business? I'm the boss. How come I don't know about any such deal? Besides, do business talks require kissing? Bai Ningbing's face went pale. She slumped helplessly on the ground. You'd better watch yourself. In this industry, don't expect to work again. She took me away. Bai Ningbing was left there alone. People around her murmured. The insults didn't stop either. When we reached a nearby plaza, I helped Shang Xinci onto a bench. I sighed. I looked at her ankle. Her foot was still swollen, yet she'd acted as though nothing was wrong. Boss, you really know how to put on a brave face. Your foot is that badly injured, but you didn't lose an ounce of swagger. Shang Xinci smiled, tucking her hair behind her ear. She gave a proud little huff. You dare criticize your boss? As she spoke, she raised her fist. I didn't dodge. Sure enough, her hand stopped in midair. Fine, you've really got me wrapped around your finger. You win. I just smiled, bracing my hands on the bench. I leaned back and looked up at the sky. What rotten luck. Thinking about it now. Boss, your rule wasn't wrong. We really shouldn't date. The moment I said that, she pinched my hand. Ouch. What was that for? You're giving up over this little setback. Coward. I am a coward. To date someone, I even had to hide it from my boss. Shang Xinci suddenly took my hand. Her fingers slipped between mine. This time, you won't have to date in secret. I said so. I was stunned. A moment later, I looked at her. Shang Xinci's cheeks flushed slightly. She turned to look away. I couldn't help laughing. You're trying to break our promise. Break our promise? When did we ever make a promise? Didn't I agree to be your girlfriend? That was our promise. I froze again. So that counted as a promise. I smiled. Then I withdrew my hand from hers. I won't pressure you. It's not like nobody wants me. Boss, that's not what I mean. My smile faded. I looked at her seriously. Shang Xinci's eyes lit up at once. If I got together with you right now, that would be irresponsible toward you. Irresponsible? You're beautiful, with a great figure. And you're rich too. The things I said at that dinner, honestly, weren't entirely lies. Shang Xinci gave a shy smile. She was completely different from before. If I dared say that to her face before, I'd be lucky if she didn't knock my head off. I continued, but I've only just ended a relationship. I'm afraid of failing again. I'm also afraid that what I feel for you now is only gratitude, not love. Once I've sorted out my feelings, if you still want to, we can take things slowly and let it develop naturally. No problem. I'll wait for you. Then she suddenly realized something. She raised a hand and smacked me lightly. You've got one thing wrong. You're the one who likes me, so I agreed to be your girlfriend. Don't get the order backward. Yes, I liked you first. Only then did Shang Xinci smile with satisfaction. She turned toward the crowd in the plaza. After that, we returned to our ordinary workday routine. The people sent to hurt Shang Xinci, along with whoever hired them, were soon rooted out by her. It was nothing more than vicious business rivalry. I never expected their methods to be so cruel. Naturally, Shang Xinci showed them no mercy. Their endings weren't pleasant either. The company's no dating rule was finally abolished, and in this whole affair, that was what made everyone happiest. As soon as the news came out, the whole company cheered. Only then did everyone realize there had long been quite a few secret couples at the company, just like I used to be. They had to sneak around every day. It really wasn't easy. Bai Ningbing came to see me several times afterward, crying as she apologized and begged for my forgiveness. I ignored her every time. Things didn't go well for her afterward. After all, Shang Xinci had said it would be hard for her to remain in this industry, but that had nothing to do with me anymore. Paying attention to her would only waste my time. The days passed one by one. A few months later, Shang Xinci was once again camped out at my rented apartment, refusing to leave. Fang Yuan, I want watermelon. Fang Yuan, your cola chicken wings are so good. Fang Yuan, hold me. She and I squeezed onto the couch to watch a movie and play games. A newly released comedy played on the screen. She lounged lazily with a bag of chips, taking a bite, then feeding me one. That had become our normal lately. Once she dropped that icy boss facade, she became unbelievably clingy. She was always curled up in my arms, refusing to leave. Whatever I was doing, she loved clinging to me, her arms around my neck, and her legs tightly wrapped around my waist. Halfway through the movie, there was suddenly a knock at the door. Just as I was about to get up, Xinci hugged me tighter. I gently stroked her head. I'm just going to see who it is. Want me to carry you with me? She actually thought about it seriously for a moment. She held out her hand to me. I looked at her helplessly. You actually want that? Only then did Xinci smile and wave me off, telling me to hurry up. Seeing her playful look, I shook my head helplessly. Then I finally wriggled free from her arms. Coming, I went to the door and opened it. My Ningbing stood outside, holding a cake and a gift box. With a smile, she said, Yuan, it's been a long time. Today's your birthday. On this day in the past, we would go to a movie and have dinner. And then at home, I cut her off immediately. I don't need the gift. Please leave. My Ningbing froze for a moment, then gave a miserable smile and held the gift box out to me. I know I was wrong. It's only natural that you can't forgive me, but this gift comes from my heart. Please accept it. I'm leaving this place. After all, the boss has a lot of influence. I brought all this on myself. I didn't take it. I merely looked at her coldly. If there's nothing else, I'm closing the door. Just as I was about to close it, my Ningbing reached out to stop me again. Yuan, Xinci's voice called out. Who is it? Honey. Xinci walked over wearing my shirt and wrapped her arms around my waist from behind. My Ningbing froze. She looked at her, then at me. Her eyes instantly reddened, and tears began to fall. Yuan, how could you? I closed the door. Xinci fiercely pounced on me, then knocked me down. Why were you still talking to her? Just as I was about to explain, she lowered her head and kissed me. After a long while, Xinci gently stroked my lips and said, word by word, you're mine. No one else gets to take you away. Once it was completely quiet outside, I opened the door again. My Ningbing was gone. Only a note remained on the floor. I'm sorry, Yuan. I'm leaving. I deserve all of this. I sighed. Xinci hugged me from behind. Can't let her go. I smiled. I'm just feeling a little sentimental. With that, I crumpled the note into a ball and tossed it in the trash. Come on, let's eat. I called out eagerly. Time flew by. Less than a year later, Xinci and I got married. The following year, we had a daughter. Maybe Xinci brought me luck, but several software programs and patents I developed all turned out quite well. The company grew stronger and stronger. Sometimes, I would push our daughter in her stroller and took Xinci by the hand for a walk. The company no longer needed our constant attention. Making a few major decisions now and then was enough. With the rest of our time, I devoted myself to being with them. We watched movies, went shopping, and went out for good food now and then, doing the things we both loved. After we had our daughter, there was much more to do. Raising a child was exhausting, but deeply rewarding. Ever since she was born, time seemed to pass faster and faster. When our daughter turned 6, Xinci would often hold me. As we watched our daughter, time goes by so fast. It feels like just yesterday she was still a little tyke, crawling on the floor, and now she's already so grown up. She looked up at me. Honey, what am I going to do? I'm getting older and older. You won't stop loving me, will you? I held her tight and smiled. Of course not. You're only becoming more mature and alluring. That's exactly my type. She lightly punched me while nestled in my arms. Pervert. Then she softly added, I bought the outfit you like. Tonight, my face immediately turned red. Her face reddened too. Just then, our daughter came running over and threw herself into my arms. Daddy, pick me up. I smiled. I lifted her high into the air. She rang out with bright, bell-like laughter. Xinci watched us with a face full of happiness. That night, Xinci lay in my arms. Honey, I'm so happy. I smiled and held her tightly. Me too. She nestled closer into my arms. Thank you for not hating me just because I'm a pervert. The reason she called herself a pervert all began with a box. One day, while I was sorting through Xinci's things, I unexpectedly found a box. The milk tea bottles in the box had been washed spotless. Each one was labeled with a date. The lunchbox I used to bring her meals in, the heat patch I put on her at the hospital, and even cups I had used were all kept inside. She had never returned that lunchbox. I thought she'd thrown it away, but she had washed it clean too and carefully stored it in the box. The contents of that box left me stunned. Those things seemed to have preserved every moment from those days. On a sudden impulse, I opened her computer too. The password was my birthday. In a hidden folder were all photos and videos she had secretly taken of me. I was completely dumbfounded. Just then, Xinci came in. Honey, her face was crimson. There was fear in her eyes too. as if she feared I would leave after seeing the real her. I sighed and walked over to her. Don't you love watching me? You don't have to sneak around anymore. She shot me a glare. Her face turned even redder, her eyes glistening with tears. HMPH, I do love watching, and I'm going to punish you properly. With that, she pounced on me. Looking back now, it was quite an interesting memory. I like a pervert just like you. The moment I said that, I realized something was off. Shang Xinci had apparently set a trap for me. Then, honey, shall we have another round? I was completely baffled. Shang Xinci and I remained deeply in love into our 80s. When our hair had turned white, our great-granddaughter sat between us, sucking on a lollipop and swinging her little legs. Your story. I've heard it 999 times already. Shang Xinci and I exchanged a look and smiled together. Then let's tell it one more time. Our great-granddaughter spun around and ran away in terror. No, I don't